righty. Welcome to another Self-Love Conversations. My name is Gloria Ward, and I want to welcome two amazing women who are the hosts of a fantastic podcast called Untying the Knot. I have with me Miss Hanna Noel and Miss Brittany Killion. Did I say that name right?
Killion. Yep. You said it right. Yep.
Oh God. And ladies, tonight, I just want to thank you ladies for being here and welcome to Self-Love Conversations.
Woo, I'm so excited.
I know. I'm so excited too. When I first saw your website, your blog, your Instagram, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm loving me. Like, are you kidding me? This is exactly
it is.
I think I literally said that to Britt. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is beautiful. Like, this is exactly what we're all about. So
and we are very focused on empowering women and let them understand just how much they're loved and how they can start to love themselves, right? And just being able to walk this journey and understand that you don't have to walk it alone, because somebody has walked the journey and can help you along the way, like you ladies. When we talk about single moms and we talk about divorce, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so tell us a little bit about your journeys. How did you guys get together?
Yeah, it's actually funny. Hanna and I just recorded a podcast episode yesterday about this because our 1 year is coming up on Tuesday when we release episodes every Tuesday. Yay. And we were talking about that. And it's kind of like, well, Hanna, you can say where you're from. We're on opposite ends of the spectrum here. Hanna's go ahead.
Yeah, I'm in California and it's like literally opposite sides of the country. It's hilarious.
I'm in Pennsylvania. So we kind of, I always say, like, I started it by, I messaged a stranger. I DM'd a stranger on Instagram and was literally like, want to start a podcast. Hanna and I had both been spending, I had gotten a divorce in 2019. I say I emancipated myself on July 23rd, 2019. And I went through a big year of just discovering me. Coming out of an abusive relationship, especially one that is psychologically abusive, I didn't really know what my reality was anymore. I was a shell of my former self, and I had to go on this self-love journey to come back to who I am at heart, who I was before that. We were married we didn't make it to our 4-year anniversary, but we were actually together for 10 years. So it was a big chunk of my life that was, chipped away a little bit by little. And investing in ourselves is the biggest thing that we speak very hugely on. And I invested in myself in anything I could get my hands on, be it weird or not. I was trying it all. Right. And it led me to a business retreat and called Founded and Funded. And it was one that Hanna had done. And we just, Hanna, you kind of came to me.
Right. Well, I went to the retreat in March and, I transitioned my whole Instagram account from I was trying to be a Disneyland blogger. I transitioned it to like supporting single moms and fighting the stigma of single motherhood. And Britt started following me from some connection. And then just over the next few months, we were DMing back and forth, like just randomly, cheering each other on, tagging each other in comments, like all that kind of stuff. And then one day I came to her, and Britt's a certified life coach too. And so I had this dream on my heart to start or to host a retreat one day. And I was like, I want a life coach there. Britt's a single mom. Like, that would be amazing to have that connection at this retreat. So I DM'd her like, hey, I have this vision of having a retreat one day and I see you there with me. And then it was a couple weeks later, she was like, hey, you want to start a podcast to
build our community,
right?
To build our community.
Yep.
And, it's just been such a fun, it really is crazy that we were strangers on the internet. And now we're like, we have a beautiful friendship. We have an amazing business partnership. So it's just been so cool and really unique. And I think that's the beautiful thing of technology.
I always say that, you get to a point where you finally opened yourself up, where now on this journey, you're meeting like-minded people.
Absolutely.
Like when I sit and I listen to you, Brittany, I hear myself. because I went through the same thing with going through a divorce and really trying to figure out, how do I love me? Because we were married for 9 years, but together for 10 years. So 19 years of my life was with this person. And then all of a sudden, that's not there anymore. You're in a little apartment with 2 dogs. And now you're saying to yourself, well, now what? Right? How do I go ahead and start this journey? And then you figure out along the way, like, most of my life was intertwined with this person. Now I got to figure out what the hell I like. What's good for me? Now I can take chances on my life without someone, or getting permission from someone, right? Or someone trying to talk me out of it, or making me think about their feelings and what they want, right? I can actually be selfish.
Amen
You know
to
what I'm
that.
saying? I can actually
Amen.
be selfish and do stuff for me, right?
Yeah.
And so while you guys were on this journey, how did you say, okay, I want to do this for single moms? What are some of the things that you guys were going through where you picked out this particular thing of doing single moms and doing divorce divas? Is it something where it just clicked to you one day where you're like, okay, I know this is for me?
I felt like it was so underrepresented. I think that's the biggest thing for us, especially in the circumstances we've gone through.
And it was definitely coming from a place of, we have been through these struggles and we didn't have anyone to look up to or to feel, a connection to, or like feel relatable. Like, we both felt very alone. I was starting my single motherhood journey. I was only 20 years old. None of my friends, I mean, they were all partying in college. I had nobody. I know, Britt, you said you're the first of your divorce.
Right? Like, and we're all talking about relationships in my inners. Like, I have 8 girlfriends. We've known each other since best friends since like kindergarten. And these relationships, we all married our college sweethearts. So like all of our guy friends were friends. All of our friends, like, they were so intertwined, these lives. So like me choosing, I say, like, I imploded my life essentially for all the good reasons, but it was when you don't have like anybody around you that has been through the trenches, if you will, like, yeah, they're supportive, but like, it's so different when you know somebody that has been a divorce diva or been through single motherhood. There's just this kinship, unspoken kinship there. And it's so refreshing. You can almost like let your hair down.
Exactly.
And that's what we wanted to create with our podcast. And we've heard that over and over again from our listeners. Like, it's so nice to hear someone that's been through this, or, I love hearing your stories because it makes me feel not alone, like we get messages all the time of, I don't know anybody else who's divorced, or, everyone around me has happy marriages. And so to hear stories that are similar to mine, like, make me feel better about myself. Like, it's not just me. I'm not the only one that is going through this.
I'm not the one who messed up. Right. There's somebody that I can come to. So within you guys journeys, now that you're doing this, do you feel, because I know I do, like this sense of, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna give it my best, because you figured out now just how much is needed, but also how you're growing through the process?
Oh my gosh, that was that was literally like the basis of our episode that we recorded yesterday for this year.
I know, I'm like, are you reading our mind?
Like, I know, literally.
I'm here with you guys. I know what this is, and
that's exactly what's happened. It's like, we've put ourselves out there. We've been able to connect with other women, and it's definitely been a growing experience. It's like, man, I thought I healed through some things, and wow, now, no, I have all these other new things coming up. and it's just, something I've told my coaching clients is, like, everybody has things they have to work through. Like, we say it all the time. Healing is not linear. You are going to have ups and downs. You're going to have something trigger you. But the beautiful thing about doing this work and going through the healing process and feeling your feelings and all of that is that you learn the tools to move through it quicker. So instead of letting a trigger hold you down for a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever, I know now I'm at the point where I can work through it and process it within, at most a couple days. I'm able to work through things much quicker now, and thank God for that.
It's like it doesn't go away. You just know how to manage it better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't actually think when we started to be like, we've been reflecting a lot on this past year since we're coming up to our year anniversary. And I don't think I realized just how much it was going to help me heal. Like, I think we originally set out to help others because that's like our natural, like wanting to do that because of what we've been through. But like the episode, like we recorded an episode last week and I talked specifically about like this abuse I've been through. And that's a topic we literally tried to record it 3 other times. I broke out in hives, like, and not because it wasn't true. Like it was my truth, being vulnerable, so vulnerable with that, with an audience that sometimes we don't really know everybody that's listening. You know what I mean? And then to like last week when we recorded it, it came out so like beautifully and it felt so natural. And I was like, damn, like, like, you're like, yeah, girl, you're like cheering for yourself.
And that's a part of it because you start to not give a shit about what people think. Right. Because this is your journey. And I was laughing earlier about going through it because it's so funny. We had our retreat, right? And we went to Savannah and everything. If you guys saw the pictures, but check this out. So my ex-husband was also in Savannah at the same time as me.
Oh, what are the odds?
No, it gets worse at his girlfriend's graduation. Right? And so we shared the dogs. So it was his time to take the dogs. So I said, so what are you going to do with the dogs? And he said, oh, I'm just going to take them with me. And so my whole face changed, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay. And I told the ladies when I got to the retreat, I said, okay, guys, I said, okay, I got something that I'm going to need to work through. I said, I know we on a retreat and we are going to heal, right? I said, but if I see that girl walking my dogs, right?
Right. You're like, I'm gonna
if I see her even holding the leash, somebody go ahead and remind me of how I need to love myself.
Just heal.
Because you're gonna have to reel me back in because I probably lose all of this for a second. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And then come on back. And we laugh so much because that's the process, right? Where you never know what's gonna trigger you. You're never really 100% healed. Is kind of like, what you said, Hannah, you know how to work through it and you have that support. Because one of the things they said was, we got you, it's fine. We all know what he looked like. So if we see him ahead of time, we'll probably tell him, go across the street. She hasn't seen you yet, right?
Yeah.
So you will be cool. I said, I know that I'm the host of this, but it's still here. Right? It's still here and we still work that out. But that's the whole thing of being vulnerable. And like you guys, I was afraid in the beginning because I was like, but what is my family going to say? Because I'm going live and I'm saying how I didn't like this when I was growing up. Right. And I was mad at my mom because she died early and all of this. And it did happen. Right. It did happen. You get comments from family, you get comments from friends, but eventually you just don't give a shit.
Right.
Because it's not about you anymore. Right. Did you guys feel that?
Absolutely. And I think you put it so beautifully when you were saying about what you just recently went through about like, but I think that shows healing. Like you recognize your trauma trigger. So then you voice it to those that you feel comfortable with, like, hey girl, like I'm gonna need some help here.
That's right.
But like, that's the beautiful thing about healing is when you can recognize those trauma triggers and use them to a learning ability. And then also like knowing where your limit is, like, and then having the ability to then voice that to somebody and asking for help. Cause I think that's the hardest thing when you're going through all this, like, it's hard to ask for help. And I think you just so beautifully put that in that story alone.
Because what you learn is you got to be able to go first. And that's what I tell the ladies. It's like, you got to, if I don't step out there and let you know my 100% truth, then I know you're not going to let me know, and you're going to hold yourself back. And the whole point of healing is being able to let your heart break and be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a
Let
beautiful
your
way to
heart,
put it.
yeah, let your heart
Yeah.
break and be okay. I don't know what it means to be a single mom. I don't have kids, but I definitely seen it a lot where I can have that empathy and say whatever it is that you need, right?
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
divorced, I could sit with someone who has been through a divorce and understand how hard it is, and trying to figure out what you do after that, because your life was all about this other person where you didn't even know you got swamped up and didn't know what you like, or
Yeah.
even what you wanted to eat, or what was your favorite restaurant, or even movies.
Yeah. And I think what happens is now you're finding yourself,
Correct.
Yourself, what are your values as an individual? And even
Correct.
as a single mom, I've had to establish what are my values as Hanna, as a person, not as a mom, not as anything else, just as a person. Like, what's important to me? Who am I? What do I enjoy? And going through that process, you learn how to love yourself. You learn how to speak your truth. You learn how to trust yourself and be honest with yourself. And it's just, it all is so intertwined when you really start, going deeper and evaluating deeper. And, I've been doing so much inner child work. Like, I didn't realize how much I had from my childhood that I needed to work through. And as I've been going through this work and realizing things, I've been speaking about it. I've been talking about it, and it has ruffled some feathers within my,
You're
my
in the
space.
circle. It's going to happen. I remember
Yeah.
when I had to admit to myself, I never knew what a mother's love was like, because my
Yeah.
mind died so young, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
so I
hard,
didn't know
man.
that, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I got married. And I could not connect with my husband's mother because I never had a mother's love. So I didn't know what to do with her. I had a grandmother, right? My grandmother, she was older. She's my grandma. So you sit there, you hang out with her, right? And you do that. I didn't know what a mother's love was. I never went to a nail salon, a hair salon, or anything like that, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So it was more like, okay, I don't know why I can't call you mom, because you're not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why I can't say dad to his father. To me, that's your parents. That's yours. But what you figure out is that those are the things that are in you that you will have to work through, where being in these situations is what brought that out. But it was also the best thing that happened to you, because now you get to see who you really are and work through those things.
And I think another awesome side effect of working through those things and seeing who you are as you step into your truth and step into your power, it also shows you who your support system truly is.
Exactly.
And it allows you, you think you have this circle and maybe you don't. And that might be uncomfortable. Like, I kind of got chills because it's unexpected and it's uncomfortable and it's like disappointing. But at the same time, like, I know that the people that are there for me are there for me 100%. And that's priceless.
Yeah. And that's why we need you guys podcasts and building community, because there's a lot of people out there who are alone, right? It's just like, what happens if you're a single mom or you're a divorced diva and now you want to go out and date?
Yeah.
And you haven't done that in a while. So now you got mom guilt because you don't want to leave the kid alone, right? And then the divorced diva sitting there with a whole list, like me, of things that you're not going to do and what's not going to happen, and you're not going to do this and that. And then you figure out, okay, now I got to work through that trauma of actually dating somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I can say from a personal standpoint. So I started, when I jumped back into the dating arena, I actually almost like canceled the date, or now we're getting married in October. But like, it's because, and like, even now, like, we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary the other day. And like, even to this day, like I still have trauma triggers. Like I thought I worked through all my stuff, like post-divorce. Like I took time to date myself. Like I didn't even like think about being on none of that, and like truly like date myself. And then like I was like, yeah, I am good. I am fly. Like I got this.
Yeah.
And then like when I even like the step of like the act of doing the blind date and then like continuing in the relationship, I was like, damn, I did not realize how many things I still need to work through. But I think that's the beauty. Like you said, like you have all these lists of things. And I think those are your standards, those are your expectations. And I say, go for it, because you'll find it. Because when you find that person and you have those trauma triggers and they can help you work through it, like, you know, that you found somebody that's worth your time and your effort to grow. I always say like grow in love with. And yeah, I mean, Christ, I still have trauma. Yeah, I mean, it's natural. And I think that's beautiful when you can admit like healing is not linear. I think there's just like this huge stigma where it's like, oh, well, I solved that, I'm good to go, like pack it up and move on. But like really, like you're not really helping anything. You're just shoving it down deeper if you don't recognize that like there's going to be some days where like you can be unhappy and happy at the same time. Like that's allowed. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, we talk about that balance all the time, where there's the and, you know, you can feel joy and you can feel frustration. They can go hand in hand. You can experience both, and like that's perfectly acceptable. You don't have to avoid frustration because you think you should only feel joy. Like you can do both.
My last question is, how has your environment changed? Friends, family, based on everything that you're doing now, do you feel like you're going through that process where you're evaluating everyone around you and you're saying, okay, I know I had to do this. The friends that I'm hanging out with, this looks a little bit different now. You know, you love them, but now you see yourself putting up a whole bunch of boundaries, because now that you're doing this work, if they're on a different journey, you love them a lot, but now you have to question how you want your environment to look, because that's the most important thing to you right now. Right.
Yeah.
I just went through that, actually. Literally was just having this conversation with my fiance, like with a friend, and love them. And we're both on the same path. Like we both got divorced around the same time. And it's funny, we talk all the time, like, you know, this is what we got to do to heal and move forward. And there's just some people in your life that might not be able to do that right now. And it doesn't mean that they're never going to do that work, but like right now they're just not ready for it. And that's okay. And I love her for it. It's just like where I'm at in my life. Like I'm always, you know, and I say to her, I'm always here, you know, I'm here, and she knows I'm here if I ever need her. But it's just like, we're on those different paths because we both have to protect our energy to a certain extent. And knowing where things are at in my life, you just also want to be very cognizant of how your energy is spent, good or bad energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've totally experienced that too. Having people, you know, like I said, having people that you thought might be there for you that end up not being there for you because they don't like something you said or how you went about something. You know, I was honestly also really worried about repercussions or backlash that I would get from you know, an ex's family potentially. And I actually haven't heard as much as I thought I would, fingers knock on wood. But you know, it's unpredictable, but I just know that as long as I'm being truthful with myself, at the end of the day, loving myself, that's all that matters.
And the beauty about this work, ladies, is that they're listening, but also they know, because they have things and issues. And when they hear you say it, even though they might not say anything now, they will soon. Because I get a text from my ex-husband's cousin that says, oh, I watch you all the time on Facebook and this and that. I'm like, for real? I thought you blocked me. Like I was blocked to this and that and out the family, right?
Yeah.
Right? And so now you're giving me kudos about, you know, how amazing I'm doing. And I'm like, wow, you just never know, because there's always a point where somebody is going to need something that you're saying or you're doing. Right. And it doesn't matter who it is, because everyone is going through something. They might not express it, they might not tell you, but they're hearing and they listening. And that's why it's important for us to continue to speak our truth no matter what, because you never know who you're saving.
Yeah.
And you never know who's listening. Right. And it doesn't matter. It's your story, but they see you in your story, and they trying to figure out how they can go ahead and work through their stuff. So that's why I tell everybody who do this work, the world needs you. And that's why you're on this journey, right? Because the world needs you. And the only way that they can hear you is if you do what you're doing now and not be afraid to do it, because that's how you make an impact.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Make an impact. So I'm happy, ladies. So let us know your podcast so we can follow you. Let us know your Instagram and everything that you have. If you have any events coming up.
Yeah, sure. So you can find me. I'm at Britt, Britt Killion, Killion. And we're on Untying the Knot. So we're on, most of our listeners come from Apple, but you can find us on any listening platform. Spotify is another popular one. And Hanna, you were going to say where they can find you?
I am on Instagram and on TikTok as with Hanna Noel, and Hanna does not have an H at the end. So Hanna, Noel, Noel. And we do have a self-care retreat coming up in November. So that retreat is, the Instagram for that is Glowing with Growth Retreat. And that's on Instagram. And oh my gosh, we are so pumped. It's going to be in Florida.
Yeah, Naples, Florida. We're on a golf course. There's oh yeah, it's amazing. We have it's a very it's very like a boutique experience. So we have 11. Well, actually, we just sold one spot. So we have 12 spots total, 11 spots left. In sunny Florida. It's going to be. We talked a little bit, you heard listeners, you heard us talk about a toolkit, but basically it's your one-stop shop to get that toolkit, because listen, life will always throw you curveballs. You can't ever walk through life without stress. Like things happen out of your control, and we're here to provide you with the toolkit to handle that, to work through that, to walk through that. So it doesn't basically do what it did for me before I discovered my own self-love toolkit, is shut you out to the world. Make you not want to get out of bed in the morning. Literally stop answering phone calls, texts, and just really just become recluse. And that's not what we want. We need connection. We need community now more than ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We just ordered our first few swag bag items, and I gotta say, they're epic. They're amazing. Yes. I'm so excited.
I kind of want one
for that.
Well, ladies, I appreciate this, and I am going to look at the website. We're going to put it out there for the ladies.
Thank you.
Try to come.
Oh my God, we would love that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm right here in Atlanta, so I'm very close.
Oh, you're close.
That's awesome.
I should, if we got the time too, I will be joining you guys.
Oh, I would love that. I love this conversation.
I would love that. This was such a great conversation. Thank you so much for having us, Gloria. This was great.
Absolutely. I'm excited. So we'll definitely put it in our newsletter. Let them know, and we'll see what happens. Okay.
Awesome.
It was a pleasure, ladies, talking to you. And
yes,
definitely let's do something again. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
Good night.
See you. Peace.
Bye.